You might think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but one simple mixture of honey and salt completely transformed my sleep at age 79. And it's been changing my patients' lives for the past 3 years. I'm talking about people who hadn't slept through the night in decades, suddenly sleeping like babies. Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Caldwell, and at 82 years old, I've been treating sleep disorders for 45 years here in Vancouver. What I'm about to share with you isn't some miracle cure I read about online. It's something I discovered through my own desperate struggle with insomnia. And now I sleep better than I did in my 50s. Before you scroll away thinking this is too simple to work, let me tell you about Susan Martinez, a 71-year-old retired teacher who came to my clinic last year. She'd been taking prescription sleep aids for 15 years, waking up groggy every morning, and her family was worried about her increasing dependence on medication. Within 2 weeks of starting this honey and salt protocol, she was sleeping through the night naturally. 3 months later, she'd completely eliminated her sleep medication under medical supervision. The woman who used to lie awake for hours now falls asleep within minutes and wakes up refreshed every morning. I know what you're thinking because I thought the same thing when I first heard about this method from my mentor, Dr. Elizabeth Foster. Back in 2019, Dr. Foster was 89 at the time, still sharp as a tack, and when I asked her secret, she pulled out a small jar of honey and a container of sea salt. I almost laughed, but the desperation of my own sleepless nights made me willing to try anything. Let me tell you about my background first, so you understand why this discovery means so much to me. I graduated from the University of British Columbia Medical School in 1967, completed my residency in neurology, and spent the first 20 years of my career working in sleep clinics across Canada. I've published over 60 research papers on sleep disorders, spoken at international conferences, and treated thousands of patients with everything from sleep apnea to chronic insomnia. For decades, I was the doctor other doctors came to when they couldn't sleep. But here's the irony that almost destroyed my career and my health. Starting at age 76, I developed the worst insomnia of my life. It began gradually, waking up once or twice during the night, then progressed to lying awake for hours, watching the ceiling, my mind racing with worries about patients, family, and the inevitable changes that come with aging. Within 6 months, I was barely sleeping 3 hours a night. As a sleep specialist, I tried everything I'd been recommending to patients for decades. Sleep hygiene, relaxation techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation apps, you name it. Eventually, I started prescribing myself the same medications I'd been giving patients, starting with mild sedatives and gradually increasing to stronger formulations as my body developed tolerance. The lowest point came when I nearly fell asleep during a patient consultation. Here I was, supposedly an expert in sleep medicine, and I couldn't stay awake during the day because I wasn't sleeping at night. My wife Janet was terrified I'd have an accident driving to the clinic, and my adult children started having conversations about whether I should retire. The medication fog was affecting everything. I couldn't remember patient names, forgot appointments, and found myself checking and rechecking medical records because my concentration was shot. One morning, I realized I'd written the same prescription 3 times for the same patient. That's when I knew something had to change dramatically. Dr. Foster had been my mentor during my residency, and despite being in her late 80s, she was still consulting at Vancouver General Hospital twice a week. When I ran into her in the physician's lounge looking haggard and exhausted, she took one look at me and said we needed to talk. That afternoon, she shared something that would change my life forever. She told me about a simple remedy she'd learned from her grandmother, who'd lived to be 97 and slept soundly every night until the end. 1 tablespoon of raw honey and a 1/4 teaspoon of high-quality sea salt dissolved in 8 ounces of warm water, consumed 30 minutes before bedtime. At first, I was skeptical. This sounded like folk medicine, not evidence-based treatment. But Dr. Foster explained the science behind it, and suddenly it made perfect sense. The natural sugars in honey provide a controlled glucose supply to the brain throughout the night, preventing the blood sugar crashes that trigger cortisol release and cause middle-of-the-night awakenings. The sea salt provides essential minerals that support adrenal function and help maintain stable blood sugar levels during sleep. That night, I prepared the mixture with little expectation. I used 1 tablespoon of unpasteurized honey from a local beekeeper and a 1/4 teaspoon of gray sea salt dissolved in warm water. I drank it 30 minutes before my usual bedtime, turned off all electronics, and went to bed at 10 p.m. as I had been trying to do for months. For the first time in over a year, I fell asleep within 20 minutes. Even more remarkable, I slept for 6 straight hours without waking up. When I did wake up at 6 a.m., I felt more refreshed than I had in months. I thought it might be coincidence, but I tried it again the next night with similar results. After 2 weeks of consistent use, I was sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night and waking up naturally without an alarm clock. My daytime energy returned. My concentration improved, and for the first time in months, I felt like myself again. But as a scientist, I needed to understand exactly why this worked before I could recommend it to patients. If you're finding this helpful, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss future videos where I share more practical health insights from my 45 years of practice. Let me explain the science behind why honey and salt work so effectively for sleep, because understanding the mechanism will help you use this remedy most effectively. During the day, our bodies run primarily on glucose for energy, especially our brains, which consume about 20% of our total daily glucose intake. As we sleep, our liver releases stored glucose to maintain blood sugar levels, but this process becomes less efficient as we age. When blood sugar drops too low during the night, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., our adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline to trigger the liver to release more glucose. This stress response is what causes many people to wake up in the early morning hours feeling alert and anxious. Unable to return to sleep, the honey provides a slow release source of glucose that maintains stable blood sugar throughout the night. Unlike processed sugar, raw honey contains enzymes and trace minerals that support healthy metabolism. The fructose in honey is converted by the liver into glucose and stored as glycogen, providing a steady supply of energy for the brain during sleep. The sea salt is equally important because it contains over 80 trace minerals that support adrenal function and neurotransmitter production. Sodium helps maintain proper electrolyte balance, which is crucial for nerve function and muscle relaxation. The minerals in sea salt also support the production of serotonin, which converts to melatonin, our body's natural sleep hormone. Let me share 5 specific benefits I've observed in my patients who've used this remedy consistently for at least 4 weeks. The first benefit is dramatically reduced time to fall asleep. Most of my patients report falling asleep within 15 to 20 minutes instead of lying awake for hours. Take Michael Rodriguez, a 65-year-old construction foreman who came to me after his wife threatened to make him sleep in the guest room because of his tossing and turning. Michael had been lying in bed for 2 to 3 hours each night before falling asleep, his mind racing with thoughts about work projects and family responsibilities. He'd tried everything from counting sheep to expensive sleep trackers, but nothing worked consistently. Within 1 week of starting the honey and salt protocol, Michael was falling asleep within 20 minutes. He told me, "Doc, it's like someone flipped a switch in my brain. I drink that mixture, get into bed, and the next thing I know, it's morning." His wife confirmed that he'd stopped the restless tossing and turning that had been keeping her awake too. The key is timing and preparation. I recommend drinking the mixture exactly 30 minutes before you want to be asleep, not just before you get into bed. Use 1 tablespoon of raw, unprocessed honey and exactly 1/4 teaspoon of high-quality sea salt dissolved in 8 ounces of water, heated to about body temperature. The water should feel neutral on your tongue, not hot or cold. The second major benefit is significantly fewer nighttime awakenings. This is particularly important for people over 60, when age-related changes in sleep architecture cause more frequent awakenings. The stable blood sugar provided by honey prevents the cortisol spikes that jolt us awake in the early morning hours. Jennifer Wilson, a 72-year-old retired nurse, had been waking up every night at 2:30 a.m. for over 5 years. She'd lie there for hours, her mind filled with worries about her health, her finances, and her grown children. She tried everything from warm milk to prescription sleep aids, but nothing kept her asleep through the night. After 6 weeks on the honey and salt protocol, Jennifer reported sleeping through the night 4 to 5 times per week instead of 0 times per week. When she did wake up, she found it much easier to fall back asleep. "The difference is incredible," she told me. "Instead of my mind immediately racing when I wake up, I feel calm and drowsy. Most of the time, I fall back asleep within 10 minutes. For this benefit to work optimally, it's crucial to have your last meal at least 3 hours before bedtime and to limit fluid intake to the honey-salt mixture only after 7 p.m. This prevents digestive processes and bathroom trips from interfering with sleep maintenance. The third benefit is improved deep sleep quality, which is absolutely critical for physical and mental restoration. Deep sleep is when our bodies repair tissues, consolidate memories, and release growth hormone. Many of my older patients tell me they sleep for 7 or 8 hours, but still wake up feeling tired, which usually indicates insufficient deep sleep. Robert Kim, a 68-year-old accountant, came to me complaining of chronic fatigue, despite sleeping what he thought were adequate hours. Sleep studies showed he was spending less than 10% of his night in deep sleep, compared to the 20% that's optimal for restoration. He'd wake up feeling like he hadn't slept at all, requiring multiple cups of coffee just to function during the day. After 2 months using the honey and salt remedy consistently, Robert's follow-up sleep study showed his deep sleep had increased to 18% of total sleep time. More importantly, he reported waking up naturally, feeling refreshed and energetic. "I haven't felt this good in the morning since my 50s, he told me during his follow-up appointment. To maximize deep sleep benefits, combine the honey-salt remedy with optimal sleep environment conditions. Keep your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Use blackout curtains or an eye mask, and eliminate all electronic devices at least 1 hour before bedtime. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production, which counteracts the natural sleep promotion effects of the honey and salt." The fourth benefit I've observed is significant improvement in morning mood and energy levels. Poor sleep quality affects neurotransmitter production, particularly serotonin and dopamine, which regulate mood, motivation, and energy. When patients start sleeping better with this remedy, they consistently report feeling more optimistic and energetic during the day. Patricia Davis, a 69-year-old artist, had been struggling with what her previous doctor had diagnosed as mild depression. She felt unmotivated, irritable, and exhausted most days, which was affecting her relationships with family and her ability to create art. Instead of prescribing antidepressants, I suspected her mood issues were primarily related to her chronic insomnia. Within 6 weeks of starting the honey-salt protocol, Patricia's sleep improved from 4 fragmented hours per night to 7 continuous hours. Her mood transformation was remarkable. She started painting again, began socializing with friends, and told me she felt like her old self for the first time in years. "I didn't realize how much my poor sleep was affecting everything else in my life," she said. This improvement happens because quality sleep allows proper regulation of stress hormones like cortisol and supports optimal production of mood-regulating neurotransmitters. When we sleep well, we're better equipped to handle daily stresses and maintain emotional balance. The fifth benefit, which surprised even me, is improved cognitive function and memory. Many of my elderly patients worry about memory problems, but often what they're experiencing is sleep deprivation affecting their ability to form and retrieve memories rather than actual cognitive decline. During deep sleep, our brains clear out metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours, including beta-amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. The brain also transfers information from short-term to long-term memory during specific sleep stages. When sleep is fragmented or insufficient, these crucial processes are impaired. David Thompson, a 74-year-old retired teacher, came to me worried about increasing forgetfulness. He was having trouble remembering names, frequently lost his keys, and sometimes forgot what he'd gone to the store to buy. His family was concerned about early signs of dementia, but I suspected sleep deprivation might be the culprit. After 3 months of consistent use of the honey salt remedy, David reported significant improvements in his memory and mental clarity. He could remember conversations better, rarely misplaced items, and felt mentally sharp for the first time in years. "My wife says I'm back to my old self," he told me with a smile. "Now, let me give you the exact protocol I recommend to my patients, along with important precautions and modifications for specific health conditions." The basic recipe is simple: 1 tablespoon of raw, unprocessed honey plus 1/4 teaspoon of high-quality sea salt dissolved in 8 ounces of warm water. Consumed 30 minutes before your desired sleep time. The quality of ingredients matters significantly. Choose raw honey that hasn't been heated or processed, preferably from a local beekeeper if possible. Avoid regular table salt and use genuine sea salt or Himalayan pink salt that contains the full spectrum of trace minerals. The water should be warm enough to dissolve the salt and honey completely, but not so hot that it destroys the beneficial enzymes in raw honey. Timing is crucial for maximum effectiveness. Drink the mixture exactly 30 minutes before you want to be asleep, not just before you get into bed. This allows time for initial digestion and absorption while giving you a buffer to complete your bedtime routine. After drinking the mixture, avoid any stimulating activities, bright lights, or electronic screens. Important precautions must be observed for certain health conditions. If you have diabetes, consult your healthcare provider before trying this remedy and consider reducing the honey to 2 teaspoons instead of 1 tablespoon. Monitor your blood sugar closely, especially if you take insulin or other glucose-lowering medications, as the timing of this remedy might affect your overnight blood sugar patterns. People with high blood pressure should start with just a pinch of salt instead of a full 1/4 teaspoon and monitor their blood pressure closely. While the minerals in sea salt can actually help regulate blood pressure in some people, those taking blood pressure medications need medical supervision when making any dietary changes involving sodium. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, or any condition requiring sodium restriction, do not try this remedy without explicit approval from your nephrologist or cardiologist. The additional sodium intake could worsen fluid retention or strain your kidneys. Those taking sleep medications should never stop their prescriptions suddenly. Instead, work with your prescribing physician to gradually reduce dosages as your sleep improves with the honey salt method. Sudden discontinuation of sleep aids can cause dangerous rebound insomnia and other withdrawal effects. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should consult their obstetricians before trying this remedy. While honey and salt are generally safe, the concentrated dose and timing might affect blood sugar in ways that could impact pregnancy. If you're allergic to honey or bee products, obviously this remedy isn't appropriate for you. Some people with severe pollen allergies might also react to raw honey, so start with a very small amount to test your tolerance. For optimal results, combine this remedy with good sleep hygiene practices. Maintain a consistent bedtime and wake time even on weekends. Create a relaxing bedtime routine that signals to your body it's time to sleep. This might include gentle stretching, reading or meditation, but avoid vigorous exercise, large meals, alcohol, or caffeine within 4 hours of bedtime. Keep your bedroom cool, dark and quiet. Invest in blackout curtains. Consider a white noise machine if you live in a noisy area, and remove all electronic devices from your bedroom. Charge your phone in another room and use a traditional alarm clock if needed. Don't expect immediate perfection. While some people see results the first night, most patients experience gradual improvement over 2 to 4 weeks. Some nights will be better than others, especially when you're dealing with stress, illness, or changes in routine. Consistency is more important than perfection. If you don't see any improvement after 4 weeks of consistent use, consult a sleep specialist. You might have an underlying sleep disorder like sleep apnea that requires different treatment approaches. Don't suffer in silence when professional help is available. I want to emphasize that this remedy isn't a magic cure-all, but it's a simple, natural approach that works for many people when used correctly and consistently. In my 3 years of recommending this protocol to patients, I've seen remarkable transformations in people who had given up hope of ever sleeping well again. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity and safety for most people. Unlike prescription sleep medications, there's no risk of dependency, morning grogginess, or dangerous interactions with other medications. The ingredients are inexpensive, readily available, and you probably already have them in your kitchen. Remember that good sleep is foundational to every aspect of health. When you sleep well, your immune system functions better, your mood stabilizes, your memory improves, and your body can repair and restore itself properly. Poor sleep contributes to everything from depression and anxiety to diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline. If this information has been helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. I regularly share evidence-based health insights from my decades of practice, always focusing on simple, practical approaches that real people can implement in their daily lives. In my next video, I'll be discussing the 3 morning habits that can dramatically improve your energy levels throughout the day, including a specific breathing technique that's been shown to reduce stress hormones by up to 30%. These are strategies I've developed and refined over 45 years of practice, and they've helped thousands of my patients feel more vibrant and resilient. I also want to hear about your experiences. If you try the honey salt remedy, please leave a comment below sharing your results. Your success stories not only encourage me, but also help other viewers who might be hesitant to try something that seems too simple to work. Sleep problems can feel hopeless, especially when you've tried everything conventional medicine has to offer. But sometimes the most powerful solutions are also the simplest ones. This humble mixture of honey and salt has given me back my sleep, my energy, and my quality of life. At 82 years old, I sleep better now than I did at 60, and I wake up every morning grateful for the rest that allows me to continue helping others. Your sleep matters more than you might realize. It affects your relationships, your work performance, your physical health, and your emotional resilience. You deserve to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to embrace each new day. This simple remedy might be the key that unlocks the restorative sleep you've been longing for. Don't let another night of poor sleep steal your tomorrow. Try this remedy tonight. Be patient with the process, and give yourself the gift of the deep, healing sleep your body and mind desperately need. Thank you for watching, and here's to your best night's sleep in years.